Okay, Bob, guess what? It's another episode of Let's Chat Sales, right?
Let's chat sales.
Yeah. And today we're going to talk about brand and having a brand as a business,
Okay.
right?
I like that topic.
Yeah.
Near and dear to my heart.
So I know what you're going to say. The first thing is,
This is going to make a really bad show then.
yeah, Brendan, first, can I ask a question? What do you mean by brand? That's what you would say. So I'm, 50 some episodes in, and I'm starting to figure it out, right? So excellent question you asked there, Bob, which is like
You're trying to replace me, literally, aren't you?
So the thing about a brand is, and this is where I think Seth Godin in particular has said this, and that is the brand is not something you get to dictate. You can try to influence it, but the brand is what other people think of your company. It's what they think your company stands for. And Coca-Cola, I spent a lot of time getting people to understand that Coca-Cola is equated with happiness and refreshment and whatever else it is. Whatever that thing is that Coca-Cola is its brand. And so in the same way, we're going to talk for a few minutes about your own brand and what does that mean?
Your own brand, your personal brand, or your company brand? Because there are two different elements, right?
Now let's talk about just brand and how to influence it. And then I think in a subsequent episode, we'll tackle the idea of a personal brand versus a company brand and when you want to have one versus the other.
Brenda, as we think about branding, I always think about the fact that this is what they did on farms to brand their cows. They would put the hot iron on so that you knew that they were your cows.
Right.
And I like that image as we carry it into business, because then we know what you are, right? And I think that gets lost in the shuffle. But when I was teaching this in college, and I would say that to college students, they kind of like, it was an aha moment that, oh, I get it. So your cows would have the Brendan McAdams branding, and my cows would have the Bob Graham branding, and we could differentiate our cows from each other.
Right.
And if you think about it in the business context, it's the same thing. Pepsi and Coke are very different. They're in the same space, but very different in how they present their brand.
Right.
And you have people who are diehards. Oh, I'm sorry, you don't serve Pepsi? I won't have it at this restaurant. I'm not going to drink anything.
Yeah, but the point is that the brand, the way I think of brand is it's what other people think of your company. It's how they identify you. Like, what do you stand for?
Can I push back a little bit?
Yeah, why not?
I think it is started by how you think of your company. I think you get to start that message rolling. So you get to start that. You choose to wear black shirts every time I see you, with one exception, you've got a black shirt on.
You can, but ultimately it's what other people think of your company. You can certainly influence that, right? But ultimately,
I would hope
it's that's what your goal is, to try and influence that message. But ultimately, it's what your consumers, your customers think of you. If they think of you as a company that's easy to do business with, that's fair, that has a superior product, has a superior service, that's your brand.
Okay.
Right? That's the way I look at it.
Okay. How do I deal with that when I'm a startup? I'm a founder and I don't really have a lot. I'm building this app, or I'm building a new product or service. Last week we were talking to someone in one of your groups, your Pioneer group, who's doing face masks for medical personnel with beards.
Yep.
How does he create a brand around that? Because I don't know if I'm the only person, but I wasn't aware that was an issue.
So let's not confuse a logo with the brand, right? The brand, the way I'm describing it is that it's like, in the beginning, you can spend time talking about how your product is this and that, but that isn't your brand. The brand, this is my perspective, your brand is, how do people perceive you in the marketplace? Do they perceive you as being responsive? Do they perceive you as being easy to do business with? Do they perceive you as being ecologically aware? what are the things that make you up? Like Patagonia has a very clear brand. It doesn't matter what their logo is. If someone says Patagonia, you know exactly who they are and what they stand for. Right?
Hey, did I bring up logo? I don't remember saying logo.
Well, that's a point I'm making. I'm making the point that logo and brand, because I think some people sometimes think that the brand is your logo. It's like it's your color scheme and that sort of thing. And I don't think of it that way.
It's an emotion, right? Ultimately, it's the emotional response someone has when they hear the name of your company or see your company, right?
Or emotional or otherwise, whether it's emotional or rational, however it is, it's whatever they impart upon your company, and that's built over time, right? That is a function of all the things you do up to that point. In the beginning, your brand is essentially non-existent. People don't know who you are. And then at some point along the way, you start to get traction. And maybe it's very favorable. Maybe you're on social media in such a way that's really positive. Maybe you're on social media and it's not. It's kind of snarky and negative and that sort of thing. And those things all inform your brand, so that people going forward, when they see you, they see your logo, they see you on a podcast, they have a preconceived notion about who you are. And then while you're on the podcast, they may slightly or dramatically change their view of you and thus your brand based upon that latest experience.
Okay. So what can I do to affect that if I'm a startup?
Yeah. Well, I mean, touch on a few of those things right now. For one, it's, how do you carry yourself in your company? What does your company stand for? Are you superior technology? Are you easy to use? Are you easy to do business with? Are you fun? Are you edgy? Is your advertising edgy?
The language you use to describe it, right?
Right.
If I talk about a solution in a very technical way,
yeah,
I'm presenting myself one way, my brand one way, versus a way that a 10-year-old might understand.
Right. Yeah. And so are you jargon heavy? Are you very casual and fun? Are you inexpensive? Are you premier and elite? Louis Vuitton versus the Gap, right? So those are two different brands. Mm-hmm. And when someone says Louis Vuitton, oh, this is expensive, it's exclusive, it's hard to get there, and it's got and the Gap is something else entirely, right? Mm-hmm. So in the same way, I think the easiest way for a small business or a startup to establish its brand is in the way it carries itself with its initial customers. Are they successful? Are they, can you get an ROI? I'm a B2B sort of guy. And so the way I think of it is, can your customer point to, hey, if I spend X, I get 4X back every time. Mm-hmm. And it's easy to spend money with these guys because they deliver and they're fun to work with, and they respond if there's a technical issue, and that becomes your B2B brand. So really what you want to do is you want to get your customers to be out there and talking about how great you are. And that's going to inform your brand as much or more than anything you might do directly.
That's 20 times more valuable when someone else talks about your brand than when you do.
Yeah, right. That's why social proof is so important on landing pages.
And testimonials and those things.
Right,
and I was going to say, that would be one way to really improve your brand, I think, is to get testimonials from your customers.
Testimonials, case studies.
Speak in their language and don't write it for, help them write it, but don't write it in your words. Let them use their words.
Right. Content that's particularly helpful is a great way to augment your brand, right? I mean, there are things that are important from a logo, branding, color standpoint that are really helpful. Sure. I mean, somebody that makes the effort, that makes their website nice, right? That's an attention to detail. And that conveys something about, oh, these guys take the time, right, to do something. But you may not need that if you're dealing with the construction industry, where they don't really care about graphics. What they really care about is turnaround time or efficiency or usability, maybe. And so,
or certifications,
right.
In some industries, that's critical.
Right. So I think when you think about your brand and trying to influence how people think about it, one of the things I would really focus on is what's important to that particular vertical that you're supporting. If you're in a niche, what's important to that niche? If you're a broad company, horizontally focused company, like how do you satisfy all the different people, across that spectrum? Whereas if you're vertical, what is the specific things that really, really matter to that vertical? right? If it's medical, it has to be high quality. There can't be
May
any
require
risk.
FDA approval.
Right. Might
those things.
You risk the company you keep, the other customers. They're very inclined to follow whomever else is using your product, and so those sorts of things are things you got to think about as you try to influence your brand.
And we're going to talk about personal versus company brand in an upcoming episode, right?
Yeah.
So, Brendan, before we close, I know we've kicked this topic around a lot, but you have a course out there. Can you walk us through what that course is?
Yeah. So it's just launched, and it's a 30-day sprint for early stage founders and creators. And basically, it walks through how you should, the things you need around mindset to get started with sales, how to execute your early stage sales, and basically puts in place the kind of on a daily basis, the things you need to do. So it's step-by-step, 30-day sprint to get you the kind of momentum. And the guarantee is you'll pick up five new companies in your pipeline, customers, in your pipeline, or your money back. Yeah.
And you could start this course any day of the week, right?
Any day, yeah. And there'll be...
And it's roughly 20 or 30 minutes a day of effort time?
20, 30 minutes a day, ideally. And then there's a weekly office hours call so we can kind of tackle other issues. And there's a whole bunch of templates and tools that I'll be sending out throughout the 30 days. So it's really worthwhile. If you're in that stage where you're struggling with sales, this might be a great way to jumpstart your sales pipeline.
And if I can, Brendan, I've known you for a while now, and this is really a great offering. It's really easy. You make a process that can be very intimidating to people super easy and super fun. And I think getting that habit in place over 30 days could really jumpstart someone so that they could replicate it over and over and over.
Thanks, man. Well, I appreciate it. And so that's a long sales pitch. Yeah, it'll be good. Yeah.
How can someone access that, Brendan?
It's
listening.
Yeah, I'll put the link in the doobly-doo. And it's Kiinetics.com, KIINETICS.com/sales accelerator.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need help spelling accelerator, not kinetics. But your kinetics is with 2 I's.
Yeah, KIINETICS. All right.
Okay.
All right, man. Talk soon.
We should do this again.
We should definitely do it again.
All right.
See you, Bob.
See ya.
Okay, that was another episode of Let's Chat Sales, a quick one, of course, and I hope it was helpful. And if it was, please like and subscribe, and more importantly, share it with your friends. There should be something right here you could point to and click on and try that out. It should be good. It's probably good. Certainly short. It's probably helpful. And thanks for listening or watching.